Hello everyone, welcome back to Miss Now Speaks. And today's lesson we're going to talk about variations. So there are actually two types of variations that you can see. And basically variation talks about the connection or the relationship between two or more unknowns. So the first that variation that you can see is direct, and the other one will be called as inverse. People usually first write the variation using this symbol here that looks a bit like a fish or an alpha symbol, and then to the whatever unknown that they are actually connected to. For us to solve any particular questions that is connected to variations, we need to change this symbol to equal sign. And because we change this symbol to equal sign, we have to actually include a constant. We usually call it k because we don't know the value, and then write back the original formula that is given. Same as you would write for inverse. So if an equation or variation that is inversely connected to each other, then you will actually write it like that. And because it's inverse, your formula will be in inverse symbol. And therefore, when you change it to equal, you're going to add a k and then the original relationship. So people will ask, is it important that I put the k on top as a numerator or the denominator? It doesn't matter because you're going to find out the k. So, but I would suggest that you put it as a numerator so that you don't get confused. In case if you get the k as fraction, then there is more job to do if you put it as your denominator. And there's one more kind of variation that you might see, which is called the joint variation. So the joint variation actually simply means the combination of both direct and inverse. So you're gonna see something like this over this. Well, it's the same thing because you also will change it to equal sign, putting a k as mentioned earlier. Just put your k as a numerator, and then remain the original function as it is. Okay, now let's look at a few examples that we have here, and we're going to solve this few example here. So, given y is directly proportional to x and y is equals to 10 when x is equals to 2, express y in terms of x. We're going to find the proportion or the variation first, the equation. Therefore, we're going to write y is is directly proportional to x, and always change it to this. Now you're given that y is equals to 10 when x is equals to 2. Therefore, you can solve for your k, that is a linear equation, and you get k is equals to 5. So we're going to put back in the original equation, and you actually get this. So this is for part A, and there you go, you have solved it. For B, you're going to use the same expression of the equation that you found in A to answer. So now that you know y is equals to 5x, so therefore when your x is equals to 4, your y is equals to 20. And there you go, the answer for number 1A and B. Now let's try another question. Given that n is proportion or direct proportion to p, and n is equals to 12 when p is equals to 3, express n in terms of p. So just want to express, therefore we're going to rewrite it like this, and we're going to bring in our k by taking away the symbol, the alpha-like symbol, and we're going to put in the values that is already given to us so that we could find the value of k, and therefore k is equals to 4. But don't stop here because many people will just forget that they actually want to express n in terms of p, so therefore n is equals to 4 p.m. This is the answer that you should give. Alright, let's go on to another example. Here we have example 3. So example 3, given the table below, find the value of x. This is the x, okay? And you're given that f is proportion to 1 over ln. So actually this is not a joint variation. It is just a single kind of variation, but we have two unknowns here and both are actually inversely proportional to f. Okay, so we want to find the value of f. We need to actually bring in k and then use the values that are given here on the first row to find the value of k first. So what is f, the f is given as 45 when your L is half and your M is 6. So you'll find that this is actually equals to k over 3. And therefore solving your k will give you 135. So your f will be 135 over Lm. But let's not just stop here because we want to find the value of x, right? So therefore, when f is 27 and k is 135, you're going to have 1 over 3 times x. So you're going to have 9x equals to 135 and x equals to 15. Okay, and last but not least, we have one more example, which is number 4 here. So given y varies inversely as the square root of p and y equals to 1 over 6 when p equals to 81. So this kind of question will probably be a little more difficult because you actually need to write out the relationship when they give you in words. Alright, so just remember when you talk about inverse, it is 1 over, and this time it is actually the square root of p. So let's just be very careful here and changing the proportion symbol to equal, we add on a k, and we're gonna put whatever values that have been given to us to find the value of k, and we have actually found out that k is actually equals to 3 over 2. Okay, so you might not end up with whole numbers all the time, but it doesn't matter. So we're just gonna put back the k is 3 over 2, and I'm just gonna put it very nicely like that. So there you go, express line in terms of p. So be sure to try some questions on your own, get some revision books. While doing so, stay safe during this pandemic time and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. See you again. Bye bye.